Hi, this is your host, and welcome to History Rewind, the podcast that takes big moments from world history and rewinds them so you can hear them in a whole new light. Today we're going to revisit the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Now, if you were around when this happened, then you probably don't need a lot of reminding about what happened. On November 22, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was riding in a motorcade in Dallas, Texas with his wife Jackie and the governor and first lady of Texas. A young man named Lee Harvey Oswald shot the president in the back of the head and he died shortly thereafter. Oswald was arrested for the crime, but before he could stand trial, he was shot and killed by Jack Ruby. The nation mourned the loss of their charismatic young president, and a myriad of conspiracy theories were born. If you weren't alive at the time, well, you might be surprised how many conspiracy theories are still floating around about the JFK assassination. For instance, was it really a lone gunman, or was there a second shooter? And if there was a second shooter, where was he? Was it really a lone gunman? Well, that's what the Warren Commission concluded after their investigation. But as they were investigating, there was some suspicion that perhaps there were two gunmen. One in the book depository building where Lee Harvey Oswald worked, and another on a grassy knoll in front of the motorcade. The second shooter theory has largely been discounted due to the lack of evidence, but people still wonder. As for where Lee Harvey Oswald was, well, his body was found on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository building. There was also a rifle in the building matching the ballistic evidence. And Mr. Oswald had recently purchased a rifle at a local gun shop. He also seemed to know the route the president would take through Dallas, and he took a break to go to the 6th floor window just before the motorcade passed below him. It all seems pretty clear-cut. But some people have questioned whether someone working alone could have managed to kill the president. They wondered if the third shot, which hit the president in the throat, could have been fired by a Secret Service agent whose job it was to protect the president. If you want to believe in a conspiracy, this is where you can start. There are plenty of conspiracy theories surrounding JFK's assassination and every president since. But why do we love conspiracy theories? Why do we want to believe there was more to JFK's death than a lone gunman? One reason may be that we like to think that there is some kind of order to the universe. We like to think that good will triumph over evil, and that justice will be served. So when something terrible happens, we want to believe that there is a reason for it, that it wasn't just random. In the case of JFK's death, we want to believe that his killer didn't just snap, that there was some kind of plot to take him out. We want to believe that justice will be served. Another reason we like conspiracy theories is because they make us feel special. They make us feel like we know something that other people don't. Makes us feel like we're smarter than the government, smarter than the people in charge. And maybe we are. Maybe there are things going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. Maybe there are powerful people who are pulling the strings, but maybe we're not smarter than the government. Maybe they really did figure out who was responsible for JFK's death. After all, it was only a few months after the assassination that they came to the conclusion that it was a lone gunman. And the evidence does seem to support that theory. So why do we keep coming up with all these different theories? Why can't we just accept the fact that a lone gunman killed the president? Maybe it's because we don't want to believe that a lone gunman could have killed the president. We want to believe that there was more to it than that. We want to believe that justice was served. But maybe it was. Maybe a lone gunman really did kill the president. I'd like to thank you for joining me on this episode of History Rewind. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to hear more, please subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. You can also check us out on our social media. Until next time, this is your host, reminding you to stay curious,